Hi, everybody. Jean Humbrecht with Humbrecht Law here, helping to make sure a life crisis doesn't last a lifetime. If you are on my page, then you know that I am a criminal and traffic defense attorney in Manassas, Virginia. But we're not here to talk about me today. We are here to turn the floor over to Coach Marvin Powell. Coach Powell is somebody that I wish I had met years and years ago. He is full of so much useful information. He is a business coach, and he's the only coach I know that has coach in his title. And I always just call him Coach Powell. Coach Powell runs a roundtable, which is a weekly mastermind networking group, basically teaching people how to network. He also goes live on Facebook every Friday at 3 with Coffee, Tea, You, and Me, always giving us very helpful information about how to make and keep connections and network. And he's an avid racquetball player, and I know that he does not like to be called Marv. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Coach Powell. We're going to be talking about your award-winning patented VisionQuest90 program.
Thank you so much, Jean. Jean, you are absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad for the opportunity to be here with you. I'm clicking around because I'm trying to find a link that I could share with your audience to the VisionQuest90 system so that everybody knows what we're talking about. And that should be here in just a minute. You know, this technology stuff is amazing. Even I can do it, which is saying a lot for people who sit out there on the sidelines and go, I'm scared to do blah, 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 blah. There's really no reason to fear. It's a lot easier than we probably all think it is before you get started. And I just posted a link to the VisionQuest90 process in the chat. And so hopefully people can see that. And
Marvin, also,
you can share that with them.
You can share your screen. So if you have it up on your screen, you can hit share screen at the bottom so we can all see it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if we can do that. Share screen at the bottom. I see it. Okay. Yeah. I see that little button there.
See, I helped you today.
All righty. This could get kind of scary. You know what? I'm using Firefox, so it won't allow me to do that.
Oh.
Unless I have to go in the back end and give it all kinds of special permissions.
Marvin, you send it to me. I will pull it up on my screen. You can start talking and I'll pull it up.
I think you sent it to me earlier, but just in case, I will do that as well. Hold on just a second. There's Jean. There you are. Okay. I said send it to you via Facebook.
All right. All right. So Marvin, take it away. I will pull it up.
Okay. So anyhow, the VisionQuest90 process is like a really specific process that I created for a lot of reasons. Before I became a coach years ago, I interviewed literally thousands of entrepreneurs. It was at the time when LinkedIn had a special program that some of you all may remember called Question and Answers. And literally you could put questions out and point those questions to an entire community. And I pointed by the entrepreneur community, and I really was trying to get out of becoming a coach because my wife had told me you should be a coach. And I thought, I'm not going to do this. And I had to figure out a way to give her some data that suggests this is a crazy idea. Well, I asked the question to entrepreneurs all over the world, what do you hate about coaching? And boy, did I get answers, because if you ask people a negative question, they love giving you answers. They love to share answers with ideas, because I really was trying to talk my wife out of, suggesting this. And because it doesn't feel natural to me to, be invested, or what I thought preconceived notion was what a coach was all about. I was just absolutely wrong. But in any case, I put it out there, and I got thousands and thousands of response back from entrepreneurs all over the world. And what they told me they hate most about coaching came into 3 boxes. 1, it was too expensive. 2, it felt like therapy. And 3, it was never ending. So they never had they felt like coaches weren't giving them a direct result, a finished product. So I decided, what if I could create a system that was inexpensive, easy to get a hold of, and easy to assign to just one project or one product or one thing that we could create some success from. And so I started thinking about all my days of training with Dr. Covey and many different trainers that I've had a chance to participate in, because I was once a train the trainer kind of person. So the companies would always send me out to learn the training and come back and train everybody else for any kind of outreach there was. And so I really loved that. I really got a chance to sit with some of the greats. And I started to cobble together a system that I thought would be useful. And the Vision Quest 90 system was born. I actually created it as a tool for myself to use when coaching other clients. I realized that many thousands of client systems later, that it's so wonderful that it works. It's worked 100% of the time. I started basically just offering 100% money back guarantee. If for somebody says for some reason it doesn't work, then I give them their money back. So here's what the system is, and here's how it works. Literally, this is a planning system. This is a tool that anybody could use to accomplish anything they want to accomplish. It gives them the language they need to share with others. It gives them the resources they need to recruit people that they need to recruit, to jump on board, find the resources that they have to have, and then deploy those resources correctly. But it starts with understanding that your brain kind of works in two different categories. It works with left brain, it works in right brain. So you have your strategic, your thinking, and your online linear thinking, but you also have your emotional thinking and the things that really make the creative juices flow and work really, really well. And so when you're doing any kind of planning, and if it's going to involve yourself or other people, you have to include as much of your brain and engage in that as possible. So many of us think that, we're very strategic, or we're very linear, or very, very, very streamlined in terms of our focus. But, the reality is most of us are emotional. In fact, 83% of us, every decision that we make is an emotional decision. And then we back that decision up with logic. Once we've already made the emotional content, we've already made the emotional commitment to do something. So I understood all this kind of stuff because, of course, I studied all the latest neuroscience and how the mind works and so on and so forth. So when I created this process, I decided I didn't want to go with some old stodgy model that somebody else created that probably doesn't work as effectively. I decided to create something for a new environment where entrepreneurs are coming online with a lot of new ideas, a lot of new processes that would create opportunities for them. And so that's how I came up with the Vision Quest 90 process. And it literally exists in 4 different quadrants. And we really tailor the process to the strengths of the individuals that participate. So some people you'll find are very dreamlike. They're very destiny minded. They're very visual in terms of what they're thinking they want to accomplish in the future, what they're thinking they want to do. And the other people are very driven by mission and purpose. Some people are just execution minded. They got to go after it. They got to get after it. They're day-to-day task oriented kind of person. And then some people are really, really driven by, achieving. They have to make sure that they hit the benchmark, they hit the goals, they hit the strategy. So that's very, very important. So we figure out, first of all, before we engage anybody in the Vision Quest 90 process, what their strengths are, because that's what we're going to lead with. We're going to lead with wherever the strengths are that the person comes into the process. And that takes a while of really, really getting to know someone, really getting to understand what their desires are, what their wishes are, what their goals are, what their dreams are, what their process currently is like. And then we figure out what their strengths are, and then we use that strength to launch their Vision Quest 90 process to any project or program or task that they want to make major movement on. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a personal task or if it's a project that you're working on in the office or whatever that is. Any entrepreneur could use this. It works best when there is a behavioral aspect to making the changes that you have to make to everything. And thousands of clients have used it now, and it's been 100% successful. So I always tell people, I got a 100% winning track record. And the reason why I do is not just because the system is so good. It's because I'm very choosy about who I bring in and who I allow to participate in the program, because I realize that it's not for everybody. Usually your startups, the people that are just getting ready to go in your entrepreneurial ventures and your business industries, they really don't have the bandwidth to really focus long enough to help this, because they're all over the place. I mean, they're like, blah, your startups have to do everything, and they can't really focus on learning a system or learning a tool that's going to streamline everything they do. They don't have the time to do it, even if it's just for 90 days. And so for them, it's just, it's not gonna work as well. It's not gonna be as fun for them, and it's not gonna be as fun for me. And it will feel like I'm babysitting. It will feel like I'm hand holding, and I don't want to do that. I want to work with people who are already down the road. They've already been in their business for 5 to 10 years or more. They're usually service providers, licensed professionals of some type. You were talking about doctors, lawyers, engineers, architects, because that's the world I kind of come from, and that's the world I know. I'm sure the process will work well with anybody, but retailers and people who are like focused on a product they have to sell probably won't be that good in terms of working with me. The system will work for anybody. Me, I like working with specific types of entrepreneurs, because that way I know I can be successful, and I know I can help them win, and I like to win, unfortunately. I can't stand losing. Losing is not a thing. I don't do it. I don't subscribe to it. I hope you don't either, but that's kind of what we work with. Any questions about any parts of that process that ring to you?
I do have a couple questions, and I do have a couple questions.
Okay.
Hold on a second. I don't know where that echo is coming from. Okay. So everybody that's watching, feel free to type questions in the comment box there, and we'll make sure Marvin gets them answered for you. You don't want to miss this opportunity, because Marvin is always so incredibly helpful. As I said, I should have met him years ago. The first question that I wanted to ask, you talked about not really preferring to work with startups because they don't have the bandwidth, and they're running around like crazy people, and it wouldn't be the most effective use, I guess, of your time and their time. And you prefer to work with people that are
Right.
5 to 10 years in. Well, what about the people that are 5 to 10 years in that feel like they don't have the bandwidth and are still running around like crazy people?
That's usually a behavior issue that I can easily fix. It's usually about amount. They do have the time, they just don't believe that they have the time. And it's really because what I'm going to ask them to do is going to take them about 15 minutes a day to think about. And if they don't have 15 minutes a day, then they're probably not a good fit. They're not coachable, as most people, as other coaches might refer to them and go like, you know what, if you can't spend a few minutes a day working on yourself, then you're probably not going to work well with a coach. You need a consultant, somebody who's actually going to do the work for you. And that's different, because coaches don't do that. What we do is we get alongside of you, we figure out where you're broken, and we help you strengthen those areas so that you can sail through whatever process or project that you're working on.
I'm glad you mentioned consultant, because I wanted to bring that up too. You mentioned therapist earlier. So previously, because I've been to a lot of presentations you've done, there are different types of professionals that could help businesses. Can you tell everybody a little bit about the difference between the coaches, consultants, and what the different options are and what they do?
I get you. There are literally 5 helping professions. And some people are licensed to do these things, and some people are quite natural in the fact that they do these things. And these helping professions, these people can help you. We all need them. Sometimes we need several of them at several different times in our lives. We all need a coach at some point in time. A coach is the person who's going to assess where you are, look at what you're doing, watch your behavior, watch your strategy, watch your technique, watch your form, help you figure out how to perform better. That's the coach's job. Help you figure out how to perform better at whatever it is you're already performing in, right? So your trainers would be great people who are or athletic coaches in that regard. They're going to see what you're doing, and they're going to try to figure out how to help you be better at, or help the whole team be better at whatever they need to be better at. So that's what a coach does. Another category would be the mentor. I love the mentor. Mentors are great people. However, mentors are great they'll tell you exactly what they're currently doing or what they just recently did, and they can help you figure out how to avoid the potholes, the pitfalls, the traps that they may have found along the way towards doing whatever they want to do. We all need mentors for everything we're trying to do, because they've already beaten the path down, they've already charted the course for us, And they could tell you what the smart moves are and what the bad moves are, or at least what happened to them. You don't have to necessarily follow a mentor when you decide you want to be a protege, but you do need to be informed by the lessons that they have to deliver you. You don't choose a mentor who's not currently doing what you want to do, or recently done what you want to do. Somebody who did what you want to do 10, 20 years ago cannot help you negotiate the landscape of right now. And you need somebody who's been there in the trenches and can tell you what it looks like, the landscape looks like right now. So a lot of people, when they choose mentors because they're impressive, or they choose mentors because they've been successful, but nothing specific. You need to choose a task specific mentor that's going to help you do something that you're trying to do, a task that you're trying to do, or something that you're trying to lean into, whatever that thing is. Let me see what else we got. We got the therapist, or we'll say the therapist for last. You got your advisors. Now, your advisors, they literally tell you what to do. They tell you, they're your advocates. They tell you, I think you should do blah, blah, blah. I think you should do blah, blah, blah. I think you should go in this direction. That's what an advisor do. They advise you. They let you know that this is probably the best way to go. They're great advocates. They're great people that help you figure out the right thing to do, the right strategy, the right way to do something. A consultant is very different than an advisor. Not only is a consultant going to tell you what to do, they may have a package already ready for you. They may have some work they can already do for you. So a consultant may go, oh, you know what? What you need is more marketing strategy, more marketing help, and I think you should choose these particular tools and these particular techniques. And I got some things off the shelf I can pull for you and customize it, and we can make it work for you, and it can help you do something. But a consultant that doesn't do any work, all they can do is point you to a product or service that it's already there. They don't really help you out at all. They're not really much of a good consultant. They're more of a salesperson. They're just going to reshuffle something that's already been created that somebody else created. They're along the lines of the economic chain of possibility, but they're getting the fee for pretty much not a whole bunch of nothing, just introducing you to a product. They're not doing any work really. So that's what a consultant is. The last person on the chain of helping professions is the person is the therapist. Now, the therapist is going to be the person that helps talk you off the cliff. I mean, when you just cannot make the leap, when you just cannot do the thing that you want to do for whatever reason. You've got the training, you've got the techniques, you know what to do, you understand everything, you've got everything, but still you won't engage, still you won't move forward. There's probably something blocking you from your past, or something blocking you from your history that a therapist can sit down with you and help you work out. And once you've undone that, or you've gotten rid of those blocks, now you can move forward. A lot of people, unfortunately, who hire a coach really hire a therapist. And I've had this situation where I've had to organize my contract such that I let people know I don't do therapy. If for some reason you're not going to be able to do what we're requiring you to do in order for you to be successful, what you've engaged and said you wanted to do, for some reason you won't do it, that's outside of what we can control and think about, you probably need to go sit on the couch somewhere and talk to somebody, because I'm not that guy. I don't have the skills, I don't have the licenses, and I probably don't care that much about what happened back then. I care about what's going on in the future and where you're going to go, but I don't really care about what happened back then and why you can't and why you won't. That's not my game. That's why I created the VisionQuest90 system, because it works for me. I mean, I'm working with clients. I'm in there. We're doing this, working hard for 3, maybe 4 months, and then we're out of there. So we're winning, and we're whatever your Super Bowl is, we're gonna win that Super Bowl in a short period of time, and then we're out of there. So you don't need to call me again, because you have the system. You'll have a system that will be able to serve you no matter what you choose to do, no matter where you choose to go.
Okay. So the 5 different professions or professional services that you mentioned, are those projects, could any of those be project specific, like a coach or a consultant, or could any of them go on for a long period of time? Or what I guess I mean is, are they meant to go on for a long period of time or for a specific project?
Yeah, I guess the consultant might say, if you hire a consultant because, I want to get a project done in my backyard, and you got a consultant, they come out there, they do it, they suggest what you need to do, they work on it, and it's finished, right? They price it out, and you know what it's going to cost you, know when it's going to be done, and that's done, right? That's what a good consultant might do. An advisor is probably somebody who you're going to need to have at the ready. Whenever you need them, then you can call on them. So I always tell people when it comes to building their network of professionals, right? Think about what you want to be, do, and have in the future. Whatever, if that's 5 years out, whether it's 10 years out, who do you want to be? What do you want to have? What do you want to do that you're not doing now? That you're not, you're not now. And then think of the people that are going to be there to empower you to get it done, right? Or meet the right people who can help you get it done. Because once you got that list of things you're going to be, do, and have, it becomes kind of easy for you to go, okay, wow, I don't have any strengths in this area, so I'm going to need to find some people who have some strengths in these areas, and I'm going to need to win them to my cause. And so in order for me to do that, I have to realize what are my own strengths that I can leverage that maybe somebody else who has a very different set of strengths can then use, and then we can work together, and we can collaborate, and we both can win. And so those are things that I think are very, very important to learn how to identify. One is what do you bring to the table? That's why I always tell people we start in the Vision Quest process with their strengths. If you are a purpose-driven person, it doesn't make sense for me to beat you up with day-to-day activities that you got to do and force you into that mold when you're just not ready for it right now. You don't have enough of consistency in your plan to really go after the habits that way, because you need purpose, you need a reason, you need a why, and it needs to be big enough. If it's not big enough to drive you forward, then we got to work on that. And if you're a purpose-driven person, then we got to stay there until we can come off of that. And then you notice that all the sections of the Vision Quest 90 process work together. None of them are separate or distinct from one another. Certain people are going to be able to help you do certain things. And if you understand where you are and where you fit and what you really bring to the table in any endeavor, then it's easier for you to recruit, identify, and find the right people that could come along and play with you and be happy to do so. I'm sorry, did I answer your question? I think I ran amok a little bit.
Well, that's why I love having you on the show, Marvin, because you always run amok and you give me more things to ask questions about. And everybody that's watching, I know there are
so that's a good thing, right?
I know there are members of the roundtable in the chamber watching. So guys, put your questions in the comment box. You talked about leveraging, I don't know if you use that word, but leveraging connections and, figuring out what your strengths are to help other people, and then finding out who has the strengths that you don't have. I would think that it's kind of hard to sit down and figure out what my strengths are. Do you ever find that people can't sit down and tell you what their strengths are? So is that where you come in? Do we need other people to help us figure that out or help us articulate it?
It's funny. It's really funny because some people will tell me their strengths are something totally different than what they really are, because they've convinced themselves or they believe for themselves that this is what I'm supposed to be. And so these are my strengths. And so what I would do for them, if I get a sense in the initial couple of interviews that they don't really have a sense of where their gifts are and where their strengths are, I have them go out and interview other people. I have them go out and interview other friends of theirs, and I ask them to ask the question, ask their friends and associates they worked with in the past. So what do you think you can always, I will always be able to deliver? And sometimes what we find is the strengths that you think you have are not really the strengths that others think you have. And when you start to compare what you think you have with what others think you have, you may come up with some different ideas on how to articulate what your true strength is. Not that others understand what your true strength is either. They just have a perception of what they've seen given what they've seen you do. And so it's somewhere between what they think and what you think is more aligned with the truth. And then once you have that idea that you're solid in, we can build from there, because now we can tell the right people that you have this gift, that you have this strength. And people are going to go, oh, wow, I need that. I'll trade you. What do you got? I got this, you got that, right? So no matter what the strength is, there's always a corresponding weakness that would leave you on a out. So if you've ever done a SWOT analysis, right? If you ever looked at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, you realize that in these 4 quadrants, these things are always counterbalancing each other. So a person who's super strong in communication, right? They like to talk, right? They probably don't listen very well. They're very good at communicating, and they think they're communicating, but a part of the word communication is a commune effect, right? It means that you're working with someone and you're taking in that energy as well as delivering that energy. And if you're smart, you are literally working with a person and making them feel like they are in sync with you. And that is when you have real communication. That is when you have real flow going between peoples, when you've developed that syncing up. That's why in the roundtable, we shared that communication is one of the 3 keys of success with working with people. You need to be communicative in both listening and speaking. You also have to be very good with encouragement. You have to learn how to encourage each other and encourage and make sure that you're encouraging each other appropriately. And then you have to make sure that you're collaborating well. All these skills are skills that can be trained and can be developed in everyone, but they have to start with where they are. They have to know where their weaknesses are, where their strengths are. And if you know that, if you can assess that adequately, then you can get to a place where you can actually help someone else and someone else can help you, because you'll know what you bring to the table, what you have abundance in. For me, I love working with entrepreneurs to help them develop more energy, because I know how to do that. I know how to help them develop more focus and higher levels of performance. Those are the 3 keys to everything I do. So it's all about those things, and I'm good in those areas. So if you need somebody who's high energy, somebody who can perform, somebody who can focus, that's me. But I can't be divergent though. I can't do 1,000 things at one time. I'm not that multifaceted, multi-talented person. I'm very, very linear, very rigid, very like, here's what we're going to kill this. We're going to conquer this thing. Let's do it. I'm that guy. And I will always bring things right back into focus. What were we doing? No. We're going out of focus. Let's get back here. We've got to win this game, because I like to win. So you can't, but I miss a lot of opportunities because I'm so focused on, whatever the win is in the moment.
Well,
somebody's ringing my doorbell. I hope my daughter's going to go get it, because I'm not leaving.
Awesome. I don't want you to leave, Marvin. I keep thinking of more things that I want to talk about. I guess awesome. The last question I asked was strengths, and I want to ask the same question about weaknesses. Do you find that people can't or don't want to admit what their own weaknesses are?
I missed the question because somehow the internet feed didn't go the way we wanted it to go. So could you ask it again real quickly?
Yes, I was just wondering if, in your experience, some people can't figure out what their weaknesses are or don't want to admit what they are.
Yeah, and that's when it's really time there. You really do have to sit down and look at, like I said, look at your associates, look at your favorite professors, your previous bosses, look at your previous performance reviews. What have others said about you? In the world of professional development, mostly in executive coaching, we have a program called a 360-degree assessment. And what the 360 assessment does for professionals is it helps them take a look all around them at people who they lead, people who follow them, people who've led them in the past, people who followed them in the past, to get enough feedback from them so they can begin to really get centered in the middle of that 360-degree circle to figure out where they belong and where they're good, and as well as where they're weak. A lot of times I would recommend a good 360 review if a person hasn't ever had one before. It's often, sometimes it's enlightening, but sometimes it's really scary because a lot of associates, although they'll be anonymous, don't necessarily say the things you want them to say because they're anonymous. Getting feedback from people is probably one of the most difficult things that any professional could ever do, because it's first of all, it's embarrassing to ask for it for most people. They don't really want to. We've been told that we're all these John Wayne types running around. If I had to do it my way, and I'm going to do it my way, it's my way or the highway kind of thing. And that's not true. Human beings are not. are born to be individuals. They're born to be part of a connective tissue of a community and sort of a hive, so to speak. And when you fall away from the tribe, when you fall away from that, then you're all alone. That makes you vulnerable and weak, not strong and resilient. Strength and resilience is found in the tribe.
Mm-hmm. Now, can someone is strength and resilience something you need to be born with, or can you develop those? They're not habits. I mean, I'm looking at the chart. I mean, can you develop that over time, or is that something that's just innate in an individual person?
You have to. I mean, you're already born, I think, with a certain capabilities and certain God-given talents and gifts, right? But you strengthen those over time. Once you can identify those things and you work on strengthening those forever, you never stop. If you ever feel like you've arrived at some place where you're done growing, I think you got a problem, because when you can no longer contribute anything meaningful to the situation or anything more, you can't grow anymore, you can't think anymore. I think you're pretty much done. People oftentimes when they get to a certain level of training, they think they've arrived at something and they don't have to do anything anymore. That's why we have continuing education requirements for most professions. I'm so glad we do, because who would go to a class to learn something new if they really didn't have to? If they could just declare themselves, I'm the top of the profession, I don't need to do this anymore, I can just stop. Where would we be in the medical community if that happened? Or even like you were in the legal community if that happened, or the accounting community, or anywhere professionals are, if they just define themselves based on their last certification, and that's it. There's nothing else for them. They're the master of it all. It's just not possible. Things keep growing, people keep growing, life changes, and you have to keep up with it. If you don't, then you start falling behind, and it's hard to catch up once you fall too far behind.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, strengths are something that you have to continue to work on, continue to grow. If you feel like you don't want to do it anymore, it's probably time to retire, or move on to something else, grow somewhere else. If you're just done, I don't want to do anymore.
So you mentioned asking people for feedback, and that it's very obviously uncomfortable to do that. How is there an appropriate or better way to do that so that you actually get the answers that you want? Because you mentioned that if somebody leaves feedback anonymously, they're not really telling you what you want to hear. So how do you go about asking it to get the true answer?
So I'm a big believer that every professional, it doesn't matter who they are, needs to be in constant search of feedback, because there's three reasons. All of us want to do things that are meaningful. We want to do things that are special or significant, and we want to be relevant. So since we all want to be significant and relevant and meaningful, the only way for us to know we're doing something that's actually working for someone else, is to ask them, is this working for you? Does this make sense to you? Do you enjoy it? What about this makes sense to you? What part of this are you enjoying? What strategies do you think might work better? You consistently ask those questions. Then you show up to other people as a know-it-all. You show up with other people as a person who knows everything. And I know our world has programmed, specifically, and the science is in on this, the millennials have been programmed to believe that they have to be perfect. And because they believe they have to be perfect, then they keep striving to be perfect, and they can't stand when they are not perfect. And it's causing all kinds of turmoil and problems in the workplace and in businesses everywhere, because people are trying to be perfect. And the reality is no one can be. It's an impossible situation. There's such thing as high standards, and that high standard can never be perfection. It can never be, more than excellent and more than great. Anything more than those things is really too much for anybody to ask for themselves. Yes, only thing we know is perfect is things that we consider flawless. But really, is anything flawless, or we just can't find them? No matter how expert we are, we just haven't found the flaw in it. You understand what I'm saying? So I think we don't ask for feedback because we don't want to know where our flaws are. We don't want to know if somebody saw our flaws. We don't want to even admit that we have them. We want to pretend like we are perfect. And I think the honest and more mature way to look at life, business, and everything else is to know that you're not perfect, and that other people can see flaws and see things that you can't see. If I help you identify them, maybe you can do something about it. Maybe you can work on it, or maybe you just let it be a flaw. Just because someone gives you feedback doesn't mean you have to change or do what they say or do what they require you to do. I think it's another flaw in people asking for feedback. They think they're asking for you to tell them what to do, and then they have to do it once you've told them. No, you don't. All you have to say when somebody gives you feedback is thank you. In fact, that's all you should say. If you say more than thank you, you're probably doing a little bit more than you need to do. Some people will grovel, oh my God, you gave me feedback on that. Come on, that's a little too but I call it idol worshiping, really. It's like, if you're gonna take my feedback and take it as God said it or something, and go off on some kind of weird tangent. I don't think I'm gonna be uncomfortable giving you feedback again. Because I'm not that wonderful, that powerful, that I'm not Oz or anything like that, and no one else is. There's no almighty powerful Oz, right? So that was a myth that was made up in a story. So don't give that responsibility to people to give you that kind of feedback. So that you later on are going to give them too much power and control over your life, because no one really deserves that.
Mm-hmm. So one thing that I probably should have asked in the beginning, can you explain why somebody would need a coach? Because I think there might be people out there in the world who just think, I don't need it. Like with a therapist or with anything. Well, they don't really know me. They don't really know my business. Have you ever come across that?
So that's a two-part question. Like, can you coach somebody you don't know? And the answer is, I don't think so. I would never like to coach someone that I don't feel like I know them and they know me. So that's why part of my process is that first month we're working together is really just to get to know each other. Because if a person doesn't know my idiosyncrasies and my quirks and I don't know theirs, then I'm probably going to make a suggestion that's counter to who they believe they are, and that's going to put a thorn in the side of the productivity. All of a sudden now they're going to force themselves to try to perform and do something that they're not comfortable doing just because I asked, and because of my stature, or because of my connections, or because they paid me. They're going to do that, and I think that's a bad way to go. A coach should never, ever, ever sacrifice a relationship for the success of even their own success. So I think it's very, very important that you got to know each other before you can go into a coaching relationship. And the second thing is, are you going to take advice from somebody who doesn't really know you about you? That doesn't make sense. They don't. If they haven't inquired enough, if you haven't given them enough information for you to feel like they know you, then you're hampering your own coaching process. And I think that you got to be a bit of an open book if you're going to work with the coach. You got to tell them the honest, straight up truth, so that they know what they're dealing with and they know how to help you respond appropriately to whatever situation you're working on. I tell people all the time, and I actually do this when I was a financial advisor. Listen, I'm going to ask you a ton of questions. Some of you may not recognize, or some of you may not understand it has anything to do with anything that we're doing. But there is a reason why I'm asking you every question. And if for some reason you're uncomfortable answering the question, just let me know that you're uncomfortable answering the question, and I will tell you why I'm asking the question. Because ultimately, I'm asking the questions so that I can help you do what you need to do to win whatever you're trying to win. And if I don't get the answers to those questions, or you lie, or you give me misinformation, then I'm going to not have what I need in order to create the tools that you need in order for you to progress and move forward. And so, the coaching game is really, really, it's important. Honesty is critically important. And if you don't know, then say, I don't know. If I don't understand, you say you don't understand. But a lot of people, again, they get in their ego and they're not willing to, tell the truth. And I think that messes them up. And usually that's the key. I start to smell that really early in a relationship, and I realize, you know what, it's therapy time. We disengage the coaching relationship. You really need to go see a professional that can help you unpack some of that emotional drama that's going on in the background. But I'm not going to diagnose that. I'm just going to say, it's out of the depth of our coaching relationship. We need to move you to some friends of mine who can help you get on the couch and relax, and maybe hypnotherapy or something that's going to move you forward. Get the blocks out of there so we can move forward. Because the people sometimes have a hard time. They have a hard time telling the truth. They have a hard time just saying, you know what, this happened. This is how I think about this. This is what it really is. That's why and that makes it difficult, because now we don't know what we're working with. Unlike an athletic coach, I can just have you run 50 yards and I can watch you and go, okay, I can see what you're doing wrong. In this regard, I only have an understanding of how you do business. Maybe we interview a client. Maybe we look at what you're doing and how your process is to figure out okay, what's going on. But there's no coaching without assessment. There has to be a good assessment, and the coach has to know what he's actually looking at, or she is actually looking at. If they're not, then how are they going to give you any kind of meaningful structure to work with that? So that's my story. Now, a lot of coaches they just jump right in, and I will tell you that's not something I would feel comfortable doing, unless I knew the person,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know what the person's ready for, and this is like a leadership thing. I'm hoping you can see my hands. Okay, yeah. So I may identify a client or a customer or a person that I want to coach, and I may see that they have potential to go here, right? But right now they're here. They can go here, but right now they're here. Now, as a leader, if I try to push them further than they have the tools, the time, the resources to go, just because I believe they can go here, I'm not doing a good job. What I probably should do is I should reduce the scope of expectation to here, so that it's just outside of a stretch, just outside of where they're comfortable, so they feel uncomfortable, but they're moving ahead. And then we set the next goal, and then we set the next goal, and then pretty soon they're out here where I thought they were going to be anyway. But we can't bite off a whole elephant. We just got to start with the baby steps first. Get them in a rhythm, get them in a pace, get them comfortable. You know this from training yourself and other people. If you try to jump into something heavy and your body's not prepared for it, what happens? You rip something up, or you tear something that you didn't really want. And that takes you out of the game for quite a while you're in recovery, right? Not just recovery, but healing. That's different. And so it's the same thing in a coaching relationship. You don't want to move people outside of, you want to get them outside the comfort zone, but you don't want to move them to a point where you break them. That's not good. So you got to know them. You got to know where they are. You got to know how far they can go in any given moment. Because if you do that, then if you mess that up, then you'll break them. And thank goodness I haven't broken anybody in my 20 years of doing this. But that's because I'm very careful, and that's because I've been in the service business my entire life, and so I know how to work with people.
So, at what point should somebody look into getting a coach? Because you work with small businesses, and small business owners are, obviously frequently overwhelmed, and they may or may not have any staff. And you mentioned having the bandwidth and the resources. At what point should somebody consider working with a coach?
When you find yourself stuck and you can't move forward, no matter what you try, time for a coach. That's the best definition I think can help somebody with. When you find that you cannot reach for what you're trying to reach for, you just can't. Left to your own devices, it's just not going to happen. You need a coach. Now, of course, the American Training Association, the coaching federations, they'll all tell you that everybody needs a coach all the time. I'm not a believer of that particular process, or not necessarily a professional coach. You may need a friend coach. You may need a associate who can coach you through something. But peer coaching, I'm all for those type of things. But all on personal, coach that has to stay with you forever, has to watch you forever, has to help you adjust forever. I'm not for that. And a lot of coaches will hate me for saying that, because that means we got to reinvent ourselves and go get new clients all the time. So what? Step up. Let's go get the new clients. Don't be a wimp about that. Because yes, once you've learned everything I have to teach you in the Vision Quest 90 process, you shouldn't need me anymore, because that's what I'm good at. That's what I got on the table. That's what I'm going to give you. And so once you learn it for yourself and you can do it for yourself, you don't need me anymore. And like I said earlier, entrepreneurs don't want that. They don't want to be somebody, have somebody at their side all the time telling them what to do, watching everything they do, getting them, no, they only need you when you're stuck. When you're stuck in the mud, you need somebody to come and rescue you, get you out of the mud, you're back on your path to go where you need to go. But you don't need somebody to keep running alongside you going, okay, you doing okay? Oh, all right. Are you doing, do you need me? No, come on. I think that's a ridiculous notion that people like, but you're always going to get stuck. That's another thing, though. You're always going to get stuck. But the reason why I created the VisionQuest90 system is that when you get stuck, you now know, okay, I can assess, where am I? Is my execution poor? Am I off there? Are my achievement, are my goals not right? Do I need to readjust those? Have I lost my sense of purpose when it comes to this thing, or am I just outside of my destiny and it just doesn't feel right and I don't want to do it anymore? You can assess those things because you already had the VisionQuest90 process. You've already used it, and so now you know how to go back to it and then decide for yourself: do I need to be rescued, or can I just take a breather, get my act together, and get back in the game?
That was a really good answer.
But it does require practice. That system, the VisionQuest90 process. That's why it takes a minute for people to do, because you could just give it to you, like I explain it to you, just like I just explained to you just now, and saying go for it. Now, you kind of need somebody to do it with, so they can assess whether or not, in all those 4 categories, what is it that you're where it's broken. What needs to be fixed. And if you're good in all 4 of those categories and whatever you're trying to do, then you're gonna be moving forward. Those wheels are going to be turning. Things are going to be happening. You're going to be able to see progress and movement. It's only when you get stuck that you need, like, wait a minute, we got to reevaluate, reassess, and just get the wheels going again. That's why I created it. Because I created it specifically for entrepreneurs. Now, other types of coaching, executive coaching, other things, there might be a need for them to hang around all the time. But entrepreneurs aren't going to take it. They're not going to deal with it. they don't want to have somebody on retainer. They want somebody. They want to get done whatever they want to get done, and then get back to business wherever they are used to.
Marvin, it sounds like you and I would work very well together. Why is doing that echo?
I work well with all smart people.
But I'm get in, get it done, get out. Let's finish this. Let's go. Let's move on. We got it, because small bit. Oh, but that led me to another question, though. As a small business owner, I would think no matter how long you've been doing it, when do you know you're stuck? Because I would think you're always looking at what you're doing. Is this working? I mean, well, maybe it's because I need a coach. I don't know. But I'm seriously asking you, when as a business owner do you get to a point where you're stuck? Or is it more that's just how business owners are constantly thinking, constantly working, constantly looking for how everybody always, thinking about how we're going to get the next client in. So how do you determine stuck versus just that entrepreneurial, I don't even know what word to use, just being an entrepreneur?
I understand what you're saying. And it's not as difficult as many people think you are. So it's real simple. You set goals. If you're achieving those goals, you're not stuck. If you're not achieving those goals and you can't figure out what to do to get them done, then you're stuck. And so when I start to assess where people are, I'll ask them, say, the destiny questions. And I'll ask them, are you where you want to be right now? Are you the person you really want to be right now? Do you have everything you want to have right now? If that's the case, you can't think of anything more, you probably need to pivot and do something else. But if the answer is no, I don't have everything I want to have, I'm not the person that I want to be, I'm not doing the things that I really want to do, I'm not finding ways to, because we all exist in, different quadrants, right, in our lives. Some of us are very, we all are spiritual, we all are physical, we all are emotional, that's why our relationships, and we all are very, very cerebral. So there's a mental part of what we do. So every human being has those 4 categories, right? So if you think about it, you ask yourself, am I spiritually fulfilled? Am I physically good, sound? Am I healthy? Am I doing everything I'm supposed to do for that? Am I doing everything for my relationships? Am I fulfilled in those things? Am I doing the right things for my parents and my siblings and my lovers and blah, blah, blah? And everybody, am I happy with what I'm doing there? Am I happy with because if you are, then there's no room for growth. I mean, you're just, I don't know, Gandhi or something. But, if there's room for growth, that's probably when you're gonna need a coach to help you figure out where to go, what you should be doing. Should I be focusing more on this or that? Should I be thinking about that versus that? Because you only have so much capacity. Everybody's overwhelmed. Whoop-de-doo. I love that word. It goes around like it's like nothing. Everybody's in a whirlwind. Everybody is got more coming at them that they know what to do with. The reality is, but there's something coming at you that you're supposed to do something. You're supposed to be doing the thing you're supposed to be doing. And you're supposed to be ignoring everything else that's coming at you, because guess what? That's not yours. That's just some other people. That's their thoughts, their ideas. You got to pivot and take out and get rid of that and block it. You got to be good at, back on the Karate Kid days, but you got to wax on, wax off. You got to block that thing and keep moving forward, right? Because if you don't, then you'll be busy answering everybody's question, trying to respond to everyone's needs, no matter how they come at you. It's an email, I got to respond. No, you don't. It's a phone call, I got to respond. No, you don't. Somebody was just knocking at my front door. See what I did? I ignored them. Man, my friend, I didn't ask because if they were, they would have called ahead of time, right? So why should I get upset because somebody ringing the doorbell? I don't care. Because if I let that stay in my brain or worry about that, then I couldn't focus on what we're doing right here. That's somebody else's urgency. And I think a lot of things that gets most professionals out of whack is trying to be everything to everyone. And you simply can't. And you have to know, what is your focus? What is your vision? What is your mission? What is your destiny? What are you called to do? What do you feel like you belong? And those are the places where you need to pursue. Everything else you need to get on board, or you need to get everybody else sort of off. There are people who are dragging on your spirit, dragging on your process, and they're there just kind of hanging on. They're not adding to anything. They're not making an investment of any type. They're not doing anything actively today. You got to shake those zeros. You got to get rid of them and you got to move on. That's very hard to do because some of them are your family. Some of them are your friends and associates. But I believe everybody's with you for a season. And when that season's over, it's over. It may reappear again at some other point, but you need to make room for the new. You need to make room for new people, new strategies, new ideas, new thoughts. And you need to keep looking forward. If you're not, then I think you're gonna suffer under the weight of your own assumptions and the assumptions of other people. Well, you were here, like you can't change. Come on, you can't grow. Anybody who loves you wants to see you grow, wants to see you change. Next question.
I'm absorbing all of it. Well, I mean, there's a lot I could say about that, but one thing that I wanted to say is I don't think anybody could honestly say, like, if you ask them, do you have everything? Are you fulfilled everywhere in all those 4 quadrants that you mentioned? I don't think anybody can really honestly say that, because there's always room to grow. So, I mean, that's what I think.
Because of what I said earlier, none of us is perfect. None of us is perfect, right? It's impossible to be perfect. And so there's always something that you can work on. The question is, should you work on that right now? What should you be working on right now to move you forward in the best way possible for you? And that's the questions. Those are the questions that we all have to ask. And, coaches are pretty good at helping you at asking those questions and helping you sort of think about, oh, wow, I never thought about that before. Now that I'm thinking about it, this is really important over here. Maybe I should focus some time, effort, and energy on that. And I should, but now before you decide you're going to focus on something else, you got to also think about, what am I going to drop? Because everybody's plate's already full, right? And there's no such thing as I'm just going to keep adding to the plate. It's already full. And so you have to decide simultaneously, what are you not going to do every time you say you're going to do something else? And our desire to try to keep everything on the plate and everything balanced all at the same time is what kills everybody. You just got to stop. You just got to, and sometimes you need a coach to say, you know what? Remember you told me this thing over here was a very low priority for you? Yeah, okay, good. Why don't we just drop that off altogether, and that create some more capacity to embrace this other thing over here that you said was a very high priority for you. And because saying no or letting go is probably the biggest thing I think people have problems with. I see it happen all the time when I'm working with customers or clients, and they're like, but I'm supposed to do that. Says who? Is there a law that you're breaking if you don't do this? Well, no. Let me see then. That's not criminal behavior. So I think the door's open. This is America, land of the free, home of the brave. Let's go. What kind of excuse are you coming up with now? Well, I've always been expected to do blah, blah, blah. Well, change the expectation. That's your choice. Mm-hmm. Dr. Covey used to say this, and I really believe it. In between every stimulus response is our responsibility, which means we have the ability to respond. We can choose how we're going to respond to every stimulus. For those of us who are more emotionally intelligent, we don't respond directly to any stimulus. We sit, we think, we breathe, and then we respond in a way that's going to be reflective of our highest self, the person that we really are striving to be, and that's where we get our response. We don't respond from the initial emotional reaction of the thing, because if we do that, then we're not really engaging our higher level thinking. We're just engaging our amygdala, right? Our feelings. Oh, my ego is bruised, or my feelings are hurt, or I'm feeling sorry for myself, or I'm feeling guilty about something. That's not an adequate way to respond to another human being, out of your rage or fear or frustration or guilt or despair or anguish. You're bringing them into a world that doesn't belong to them. They didn't create it. They don't have anything to do with it. And now you're responding to something and they have no clue. You're blah. Why? Why are you doing that to someone else? That shows a lack of intestinal fortitude or resilience on your own part. And so I try to make sure that I work with my clients to let them know, okay, what are you getting emotionally hijacked by? What can we get rid of? That's keeping that's making that happen. And then what's left now that you no longer have to suffer under the yoke of the evil part of your brain, you can move that out of the way. What's left? Oh, you got room to grow now. We can create. We can innovate. We can change. And that's what coaching is all about, is helping to stimulate change. That's just the book of Marvin I just gave you.
Well, it's a good thing this is
the world according to Marvin.
We're going to have to transcribe.
If it only really worked that way.
We're going to have to transcribe this so people can.
If it only worked that way.
No, but you should write books, and then people can read them. They can listen to them on Audible. You should start a podcast. Look, I'm adding more things to your plate. Sorry, but the Book of Marvin is very.
I'm working on it. I am working on it. As you can see, I guilted you into starting doing this content development, and so then I had to catch up and do what I told you to do. And so this is why I'm like, you know what? I love Jean, because she makes me keep it honest. She makes me walk it like I talk it, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yet there's two things I want to leave people with before we close this out. In order for you to win, literally, if you were to compare yourself and take a person that had the exact same skill set that you have, that exact same skill set, the person who has relationships, good quality relationships that they've thought through, they've built, or it's going to be 5 times more successful than the person who's just skilled and talented, whatever they do. Now, the person can go even further if they have accountability partners. So it's not relationships that are great. It's relationships where you have some kind of form of mutual accountability that comes in. And then all of a sudden the success skyrockets. It's 9 times faster and better than the person who's just skilled and talented. These are facts that we now know, that we kind of knew but didn't understand how connected human beings were, say 10, 20 years ago when we were trying to manufacture people. We didn't know that relationships matter as much as we now know that relationships matter. And so people you're not going to learn this in business school, because the business school hasn't caught up to it. It hasn't caught up to, what we need to do. They call them soft skills, right? They haven't caught up to the fact that those soft skills are actually the hardest skills that we will ever learn, is how to work with people, and how to read people, and how to emotionally connect to people, because those are the things that make us better, that make us feel comfortable, that make us feel safe, that allow us to open up the creative and innovative juices that we have in all of our organizations and all of our places. And so when people feel like, oh my God, this is one more thing I have to do, I don't want to go to this meeting, I don't want to be involved with these people, if they're thinking like that, then something's wrong. They're not just not getting anything out of it, they don't get it. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. Is like, you should be coming to the meetings that you're going to because you have something to deliver to other people that they need, not because you want something for yourself only. Because without you, something great just might not happen for someone else. And that's the reason you go. And that's the reason why you come up with the goods and you share what you have to share, so that somebody else might be moved and maybe create an idea for them that they didn't have before you showed up. That's why I think it's important for people to really learn from each other, because there's so much to learn that I could never learn without you. I'm doing what I'm doing right now because you're doing what you're doing right now. I didn't know StreamYard before you showed it to me. And you didn't purposely show it to you. I was just paying attention to you. And I realized, oh, she's using this tool. Let me look at that and see what that is. And then I was like, oh, wow, that's a pretty neat tool. Well, if Jean could do it, I could do it too. So let me do it too. And guess what? It worked perfectly. Because not that we're directly accountability partners, but I know I encourage you to do this. And so, okay, coach, you can encourage somebody to do something that you don't know a whole bunch about yourself, or you're not doing yourself. I mean, you know about it emotionally, but you haven't done it. And so why don't you do it and then figure out, if you've encouraged her to do the right thing. And I realized we did the right thing. I knew it was the right thing. And now I know it was the right thing for you to do, because you're great at it.
If everybody doesn't know what Marvin's talking about, I don't know where that echo is coming from. I hate the sound of my voice. And that's exactly what I want to say. Marvin told me to go on Facebook Live when all the shutdowns were started. He said, you know, go live, do videos. I hated doing them. I'm super comfortable now, kind of. I'm more comfortable than I was in April, but I told Marvin, well, what if I mess up? What if I don't know the answer to the question? And he was like, yes, you will. You'll know the answer. Just do it. And I'm like, okay. And now here we are. I've got like 50 videos. I don't remember. So Marvin encouraged me, guilted me, whatever word you want to use, into doing these videos. And I'm really glad that you did. And I'm glad that you paid attention. And see, guys, it's not that hard to pay attention. He saw the StreamYard and he looked it up and he started using it himself, and actually got a little bit more creative than I did with mine. I think when you go live, you have your logo up in the corner, right?
Yeah, I'm a training and development person, right? So I have to take a class before I do almost anything. So I watched the online class and it taught me how to put the banners up and how to put the scrolling along the bottom. And I was like, oh, wow, I could do that. And then so I tried it out and I worked on it and all that kind of stuff. But I'm a geek that way. You know, I don't everything is exciting to me. Everything is new to me. I try everything until I don't like it. And then I don't like it, I'll never try it again. But if I like it, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going and keep improving and keep better because I keep asking the question. Every day I wake up, how can I be better? Today, what am I going to do to be better? Because I ask that same thing of my clients. And if I'm not willing to ask it of myself, then I'm a hypocrite and I don't do hypocrite.
Mm-hmm. You always are trying to be better, Marvin. And every time I talk to you or hear you speak somewhere, I always learn something new. So this has been a really
great. Because I know people like you are watching me. I know there are people out there like you who are watching me. So I'm like, oh, I gotta keep going. I can't stand still. Can't take a break. Can't take no. My wife was like, can you stop now? Like, no, I can't. I got things to do. I got people. I got to do things. You know, I got to keep moving. And so it keeps me young. It keeps me hopping, which is a good thing. I'm never going to retire. But I retire, they're going to be taking my business from my cold, dead fingers. That's when I'm going to be done. They're going to drag me out and say, you have nothing left. And it's not going to be me that determines it. It's going to be the universe that determines it. It's like, you're done, old man. Because right now, I'm just going to keep going to the cows come home.
That's why you got to write a book, Marvin. Oh, I wrote a book that you got to follow my lead there.
Several. Exactly. Trust me, it's already in the hopper. I got a producer that I'm working with. What do they call it? Not a producer. What do they call that person? The book distributor, not distributor, publisher. Editor? I'm working with a publisher right now. No, publisher. They're asking me 1,000 questions, which I'm having to answer now. So I'm like, fine, because I didn't want to self-publish it. I really wanted to go with the traditional thing. Because I'm hoping to get like a 10-book deal at some point. You know, here's one and here's another one and another one. And I'm like, okay. But we're on that journey. If anybody knows any really good ghostwriters or any good marketers, let me know.
Oh, I will tell you, Marvin, that somebody that I met through you is the person who designed my book cover that I was very happy with. Troy Reimer.
Really?
Yeah.
Troy did your book cover?
He did.
Oh, wow.
I met him at your leadership lunch or his.
You didn't tell me?
Oh, yeah. He's also working on my website.
Troy is amazing. He is amazing. That just gave me a good idea. I got to let him know about the Leverage Up conference. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to get a lot out of that. He might want to participate, might want to play.
Why don't you tell everybody watching or who's going to watch the replay about the Leverage Up conference?
Oh my God, I forgot. So I had this idea. I had this idea years ago that, you know, once I went to a couple of business conferences in the Washington metropolitan area, and, you know, it was always, you know, a whole bunch of professionals that would come in from other places and hang out with a whole bunch of entrepreneurs in the Washington metropolitan area for a couple of days. And we always paid a big premium just to hear these people speak and talk and then follow up with them and maybe want to go to their program, and then you end up flying out to Vegas or flying down to Florida or to some other program, and you end up spending it's just money. You're spending money, and instead of working here on your business, you're busy working and learning and not working on your business. And so I thought, what if we do something in the Washington metropolitan area? What if we take the talent we were able to find right here in our own backyard in the Washington metropolitan area and then duplicate that? And so I had the idea to do like a quarterly conference in the Washington, and then COVID hit. And I was like, this is not going to be fun. And then I started working with virtual stuff and doing lots of Zoom calls, and lots of things are going on. I was like, what? We could take this conference idea virtual. And so that's what we did. We have the Leverage Up conference. It's now virtual. It's still going to be quarterly, but we're able to recruit like some of the best talent all over the world to serve the entrepreneurs and the small business people here in the Washington metropolitan area. I want the talent to come from here, and I want the entrepreneurs in business mostly to come from here. Obviously, I can't get in because they're in Texas or Kansas or whatever that is. But people who participate in it, they're really learning a lot from it, and it's creating a lot of opportunities for people to get their brand out there, to be known, specifically when the target market is small, women-owned, minority-owned businesses. Those people are coming in flocks to this thing, and it's going to be really, really good. Everybody's going to be able to sit at their house and just be in a conference all day and learn and interact with the speakers in a way that you cannot do face-to-face. You just really couldn't get a chance to do all that because you're vying for somebody's attention with 30,000 other people, and that doesn't really work. So you're able to come to the conference, log in, get connected with all of the content providers and all of the speakers and the talent we bring to the table. There's all kinds of free gifts and bonus prizes. I mean, I've collected thousands and thousands of dollars worth of bonus prizes for people, food and fun and all kinds of good stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I feel blessed to have had the opportunity to pull this off for the benefit of the Community Business Partnership, which is a wonderful organization in Springfield. If you want, I'll drop a link into something. I don't think we have. Is the comment section working? I don't think so.
It should be.
Okay. All right. So I can't see it. Whatever it is, okay. You can see it. So if I need to, maybe I can drop. Did the last chat thing? The last thing I dropped in the chat. It says private chat on my side.
Oh no, I don't have it. But try again.
Okay, I'll figure it out. There's got to be a way to share a link to everybody who's paying attention.
Now, we'll put it in the comments after for sure.
Fair enough. That's what we'll do. Is anybody out there? Anybody has any questions?
There are a couple people out there. If you guys that are watching want to drop a question before Marvin leaves us, now's your last opportunity. But we know there's a delay there, so while we're waiting for that, I wanted to ask you a question because I'm considering attending. But is it a one-day conference or a week? What did you say it was? The Leverage Up conference?
It's an all-day conference. So
all day,
it's virtual. So you can basically, you don't have to go anywhere. You can stay right where you are, watch it online. We are having a contest, as a matter of fact, that I think you'd be great at.
Oh no, don't do that. I love contests.
It's going to be a video contest. So it's going to be a video introduction contest. And we're going to take the top 20 video submissions that we get, and we're going to play them during the conference. So you'll be in the conference, people will see your video from the conference, and they'll be able to contact you via chat and all that kind of stuff, and they'll go, oh wow, I need to talk to this young lady. And so and the one that does the best is going to be one of our speakers. It's going to be our last speaker for the day. And so that's a bonus gift that's going to be for the first people who buy the tickets. They'll get a chance to participate in the video conference, which is, or the video contest, and their videos will be displayed throughout the day constantly. Every time we take a break, every time we go away, here's a new video, here's another video, here's another video. And so they're all going to be like 2 minutes tops. We're not going to have long videos. And for those who jump on board early, I'll give them everything they need to know to create a great video. I'll probably coach them through the process. I haven't decided how I'm going to work that yet, because for my friends, obviously, I'm going to help them out. But those who just buy a ticket and shoot a video and send it in, well, they're getting in front of us. So that's going to happen. But I can't. I will I'll probably set up a special webinar or something like that for those who are early ticket holders and say, okay, come here and we'll teach you how to shoot an amazing video. And so that when you submit yours for the contest, it'll probably be one of the top 20.
That's awesome. See, you never stop. That mind never stops working. More ideas. Get people engaged.
Oh, I'm coming up. All kinds of stuff. We got free restaurant coupons for people to come. All kinds of. It's just going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy fun.
So
I let Jasmine is my chief fun officer. So if I don't have the ideas, trust me, she's coming with a lot of ideas, because that girl is amazing. She is amazing.
Marvin is talking about Jasmine Bull from Unbelievable Events, and the only reason I remember that is because I love puns like that. So I remember the name of her business. So Jasmine, who is a member of the roundtable, or at least attends the roundtable, is helping Marvin put this together. Marvin, do you want to give shout outs to more people?
Oh yeah, I have to. I'd be horrible if I didn't. The people we've put together are just an amazing cadre of performers, and I'm not talking about speakers. I'm talking about talented entrepreneurs and supporters of entrepreneurs. People like Jennifer Rose, who is literally the executive director for our local Chamber of Commerce. We call that the Chamber, although there are like 7 chambers in the Washington metropolitan area or in Northern Virginia. The Chamber is the Central Fairfax Chamber, and that's the one that we really support a lot and believe in, because they believe in us. And so that's how we do that. Also, I'm looking for my list now. This is crazy. Just give me a second.
Was it Zandria?
Bingo. Zandria Bolero is one of our other presenters, and she's just an amazing talent. She's going to be talking about how to leverage technology and how to leverage mostly the internet connections and the things that you have for your business to make your Wi-Fi kind of run fast and move smoothly, and secure all your information and your data streaming and everything, so that nobody has to worry about losing people's PII, personal information, anything like that. Jasmine obviously going to talk about help share with us how to create magical events, whether you're doing it online or in person, face to face, so that you can attract the right audiences and get the right people in play. I've got a wonderful business coach who's more of an executive coach. Christy Buckles is amazing. She has a lot to say about how to innovate and create, how to recreate, how to re-engineer your processes, how to create new strategies to get yourself moving forward and stay moving forward. Always stay on top of the innovative techniques. Maurice is another one of our internet gurus. Maurice is going to be talking about how to use your marketing, how to make your marketing really pop, and to do that with a consultant. And my good friend Lakshita is going to talk about some of the new marketing strategies that you can do on your own. And she's amazing. And of course, last but not least, my good friend Shirley Liu. Shirley Liu is probably one of the most amazing financial advisors you're ever going to get a chance to meet when it comes to entrepreneurial stuff, because she can teach you how to leverage your financial products that you already have in order to create more opportunities, more money, more financing for your business, instead of having to go and borrow more money, or having to go and sell off parts of your business. You can use equity and things that you've built up already in different places that you don't even know you have, to leverage and create more financing for your business. So she's gonna give a phenomenal talk about that, and there's gonna be more.
So what is the date of this conference?
What about it?
Oh, I said, what's the date?
It's going to be October 31st. It's going to be all day. It's going to be a long day, but we're going to keep a lot of energy going, a lot of balls in the air, a lot of things are going to be happening for people, little things for people to get involved in, the little sidebar conversations and different rooms that you can join and participate and engage with the speakers before and after they speak. The presenters or our power partners, that's the name of giving them. So they're going to be there available for you before and after and during the conference. So they're not going to be anybody who just comes in, flies in, sits on the stage, and then walks off. Oh, I'm having internet connection problems. Did you guys can hear me throughout that whole thing? I don't know what just happened there.
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay, great.
Well, I know I don't have court that day, so I don't have any excuse on Halloween to not be at that conference.
Yeah, we'll get you out of there before the kiddies come knocking.
I'm not really that concerned. It takes as long as it takes. Right. What did I want to say? So before we go, though, I mentioned in the beginning where everybody can find you. Can you tell everybody a little bit about all the different, well, aside from the conference on 10/30, that's how I talk in military language, on October 31st. Can you tell everybody about where else they can find you and what else you're involved in?
So I'm also involved in one of my favorite organizations in the world is the Roundtable, where we teach entrepreneurs and business leaders how to develop the networks they need to develop to be phenomenally successful. So remember talked about that 5 times success earlier. The Roundtable is how you make it happen, how you learn how to create that network. Most of us have the network we're born into, the network we bumped into. You deserve to have the network that you built. And that's the one that's going to work best for you. And we teach you how to do that at the Roundtable. So anybody who wants to participate in our meetings, you can just show up and go to Meetup and look for the Roundtable on Meetup or Northern Virginia Business Referral Roundtable, which is the long name, which I never use. But you can find us under my Roundtable. And let me see, what else do I do? Of course, my coaching practice. Oh, I have a special right now. I forgot to tell you about that. Anybody who wants to come and coach with me and work with me, you get a 50% off the next 10 opportunities. I think after that, I'm going to be tapped out. So it's in 50% off of a $4,000 package. That's only $2,000. So that's a lot of money you save if you're working with, if you want to get my executive package, which is a great program for people who are in the service professions again, but who also are responsible, have some leadership responsibilities. It's a great bargain, great deal. I started this one on, I think, what was it, Labor Day? But I've been so busy with the conference, I haven't really paid attention. I got people to respond back to. So if you want to get in on that deal, you better get on it now, because I think we're going to have to shut it down pretty soon. And let me see, what else am I doing? That's it. I'm also the Small Business Commissioner for the Fairfax County Small Business Commission, and in that I am the chairperson of that commission. Our responsibility is to make sure that small, women-owned, minority-owned, disabled veterans have a fair shot at doing business in the county with the county. And so, to that extent, if anybody's interested in that, you can contact me at my phone number. You can contact me personally, 703-201-4267. That's 703-201-4267. Don't shoot me an email, that'll get lost in the sauce. But if you want to text me and talk to me about that, then we can do that. I think that's it. That's all I'm doing. If I'm doing anything else except playing racquetball, shoot me, because I shouldn't.
Marvin, no. You didn't talk about Coffee, Tea, You and Me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Coffee, Tea, You and Me. Every Friday for the last 20 years, I've been getting entrepreneurs together and shooting off my mouth and talking about some good stuff that I think they need to know. But then I answer lots of questions. So a lot of times people will come by. Right now, because of COVID-19, I don't do it at the Panera Bread, the local Panera Bread in Clifton anymore. We do it live on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you want to tune in on Facebook or YouTube, or my channel on Facebook or my channel on YouTube, feel free to do so. You can find my Facebook page. We'll put the Facebook page in the links after the show, whatever. Right, awesome. And then you'll be able to see that and come on out there and join that. It's a great program. I have a lot of fun doing it, and it's just fantastic. Okay, we're done.
Are we done with all the things you do? I don't know, Mark.
You're my better assistant, man. You're better than me. You know more about the stuff I'm doing than I do.
Oh
What did I
yeah,
forget?
I stalk Marvin online, so on my to-do list, Marvin, you can tell me where the priority of this should be. I have on my to-do list to watch all of Marvin's old videos, because if I can't miss it. If I miss it, I miss something really important. So I go back and I watch them all, or I listen to them. I'm not kidding. You see
you know,
that
right now, you just reminded me, we're in a series right now at Coffee Tea, You and Me. We're starting a series on how to give a personal presentation. And so if you watch that presentation and watch that series, starting with series 1 was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. 2 was last Friday, and we're going to move on with section 3, then 4, then 5, and then we'll end it in the next couple of weeks. But the whole goal for that is to have people have enough training to their own personal presentations, their own video introductions, whatever you want to do. Whenever somebody asks you what you do, you'll have a system, a technique, a strategy that you can always go to, rely on, and never flub it. So you'll never be caught going, up, and make all the mistakes that everybody tends to make anyway. You'd be great at that. Not perfect, but great.
never be perfect. Well, I definitely have to make sure I watch those your old lives, so that I am caught up for the next one, because I want to win that video contest at your conference. So I better learn how to do these the right way. I'm going to win it. I don't want to.
You better get you better get your ticket so you can get in.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing I didn't ask you. When is the deadline for buying tickets?
So you can buy the tickets are on the show link, and let me see here if I can find it myself. You want to buy a ticket, you want to have to go to the Eventbrite ticket site. You can't buy them through LinkedIn or Facebook, or even though I've announced those events there, you actually have to link or follow the link back to Eventbrite and buy a ticket there. Where did it go? Sometimes I got my app together.
I'm on your event page, and I found the link to Eventbrite. So let's see.
Tickets. It should say tickets. It should be a big green box that says tickets.
All right. I am going to share the Eventbrite page.
Awesome. You're wonderful. I don't care what they say about you.
Thank you, Marvin.
That is the Facebook page.
Oh no, hold on. Sorry guys. Let's try this again. Come on, share screen. Chrome tab. And by the way, I didn't know how to do this earlier. I just poked around and figured it out. You see it now?
Something happened.
Yeah, I just pushed a button.
Yeah, that's the Eventbrite page.
Here's the Eventbrite page.
Right.
So everybody check it out. It sounds like something you're not going to want to miss, especially there are going to be a lot of people who are trying to win a contest that Marvin mentioned. And if they are winners like Marvin, they're going to be really good videos. So, so this is the problem. When I have a conversation with Marvin, I just can't stop. Like, we could talk all day. So, Marvin, I'm going to let you go. I know you have things to do. Anything you want to leave everybody with before we leave, like really leave this time? Because we tried to do this 30 minutes ago.
Always ask yourself, what can I do to be better? And then work on it. It's even better when you share it with somebody else and say, listen, I'm committed to doing something. I'm going to do this to be better. Would you hold me accountable? If they say yes, you're going to get it done.
That's a great way to end. So everybody check out the links we put in the comments. We're going to be adding more links later. check out Marvin at Coffee Tea You and Me every Friday at 3 o'clock on his Facebook page. His phone number's in the chat if you want to talk about the conference. The link to the conference will be there. The link to the roundtable, which meets Tuesday at noon, is in there. That's a great group. Really awesome people in there. I attend once in a while. And yeah, reach out to Marvin if you have any questions, and definitely, I know, right? Definitely check out his stuff. Marvin knows what he's talking about. He's a good person to know. So definitely, I can't say enough good things about him. So on that note, Marvin, I will let you go. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you at something soon.
Awesome. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.